Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, baby. Let's get it popping. How is everybody doing this Negro Nonsense Thursday on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC? Yeah, it's coming. I don't care what anybody says. It's coming. It's going to happen. It has to happen. I invented this. I've been doing it for years. We are not going to change midstream on Thursday. This is an important feature of the Reese on the Radio program. We don't kowtow to anybody. I got a phone call. I shouldn't say I got a phone call. Let me rephrase that. I got an email from someone, an older gentleman, who had a problem with our Thursday feature called Negro Nonsense. I will talk to you about that today during today's edition of Negro Nonsense. I actually got an opportunity to speak to that individual. And this conversation will astound you. When I tell you it's going to be great radio, when I tell you this story, sit back and relax. Many of you may know, if you're watching on Facebook or on X, you're probably saying, hey, what was going on over at the station? Well, the Red Sox are on right now. And that's fine because I'm checking their score. And they're 2 runs behind the Seattle Mariners. Hopefully, in the next 4 innings, we'll see something develop. Good luck to them. We'll be back on those airwaves anywhere around 4:30. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to hold on to Negro Nonsense until about that hour. So that everyone can hear. It's a good one today. Some old characters, some new characters. We'll get into that. Also, today, in this absolutely information, entertaining-filled show, I think I figured out how to end the practice of abortion in the inner city. As many of you know, the Planned Parenthood folks tend to keep their establishments in the inner city, poor communities. Whether it be black or white, they keep them in the poor communities because, this is a form of birth control for many in the inner city. I think I've figured out a way, a foolproof way to put an end to it. And I don't know how I didn't see it before, but I wasn't applying it. I was too much focused on the thing that should have worked instead of finding out how to apply it in a positive way. We do that sometimes. Well, today I am going to solve that problem, and it's going to be amazing. But I need to talk about something in the opening monologue, about something I've been thinking about, you've been thinking about, we've been talking about. And it's about the Abrego Garcia case, but not in the way that you think. I'm done talking about this misfit, about this ne'er-do-well, human trafficking MS-13 member. I don't really have any interest in him, and I don't care about that sloppy broad he's married to. Yeah, that's what I said. The minute that she covered up those tattoos and ran around pretending like he was this decent man while her ex-husband's trying to get custody of his children, telling the world, hey, ding, 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 this guy's a gangbanger. What did that girl do? She refused that father of his children and chose, I repeat, chose to stay with that scum. So when I call her filthy, that's exactly what she is. She has no interest in taking care of her kids or the welfare of her kids. She likes her newfound fame thanks to her Senator Chris Van Hollen and every other silly and ridiculous Democrat who is actually, dipping their toes into this very, very stupid idea of defending Abrego Garcia. But if you're asking yourself, Reese, why do they keep making this mistake? It's simple. Do you ever notice that the politicians on the left, when they're talking to minorities, they always seem to veer towards criminal justice? Do you ever notice that? They talk about things like no cash bail, reducing sentencing, plea bargaining. That's always on the agenda. Sometimes I wonder, why don't they ever talk about reducing the prices of cigarettes and liquor? I mean, come on, just say it. Just say, hey, inner city, we're going to make sure you get no cash bail. We're going to lower the cost on your Newports. And hey, don't you think sometimes the Wild Irish Rose is a little expensive? I ask myself all the time, why don't they just say it? The minority in the inner city communities, they're never approached with things and talking points like tax breaks. That's never the agenda of the left and these politicians. They never do. There's a reason why the left goes overboard, as you saw Chris Van Hollen do, for guys like Abrego Garcia. They believe that their constituents, the minority left constituents, they believe that they identify with Abrego Garcia. They believe that it being an MS-13 isn't condemnable. They believe that minorities in this country feel the country is so bad, what else could Abrego do but to join a gang and survive? The hood knows how that is in order to survive in the inner city. So, of course, they don't see Abrego Garcia as a threat. He's just surviving. Do you remember what Bill Clinton said at the funeral for Robert Byrd? Klansman, not just Klansman, Grand Kleagle recruiter of the Klan. Bill Clinton said, Robert Byrd had to join the Klan so he could get elected. Yeah, there's always an excuse for that. Senators like Chris Van Hollen, they think that Abrego is a hero to minorities because he's sticking up for one of theirs. Have any of us forgotten about the left's pillars in the last couple of years? The criminal pillars that the left has managed to deify? Trayvon Martin in 2013. According to them, he was within his right to ground and pound George Zimmerman in the face for simply following him. You might remember Michael Brown. He was deified as the hands up, don't shoot victim. He was within his rights to fight with a police officer named Darren Wilson trying to take his gun, calling him the P word and then charging at him full speed to tackle him as Darren Wilson told him to stand down. No, Michael Brown was in the right. Darren Wilson, how dare he strike that man for disobeying a direct police order. Oh, and then trying to fight him to boot. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, he was within his right to shoot through a door at police as they were serving a no-knock warrant, which resulted in them knocking on the door anyway, announcing that they were police, and her boyfriend still firing on them, getting Breonna killed. They blamed the cops, not Breonna's boyfriend, for firing on police for knocking on the door, identifying themselves. What about Jacob Blake? Jacob Blake was within his right to reach for a knife on the driver's side of his SUV as officers commanded him to stand down while he was in a domestic altercation, resulting in Jacob Blake being paralyzed. But many people thought it was the police who should have allowed him to get the knife and put their lives in danger. He was held up prominently by the left. Many people, like the former Vice President of the United States, tweeting about him. And of course, let us not forget the patron Saint Floyd of Minneapolis. George Floyd, he was so deified. If Donald Trump weren't reelected, we'd have national holiday. It would be Martin Luther King and George Floyd Day. That man was within his right to go into a grocery store and again pilfer them with counterfeit bills, stealing from them. This is a product of the left. This is who they are. Abrego Garcia, everyone stayed around going, why would they stand up for this guy? Lest you forget all of these people I mentioned. There are some that I've even forgotten. Freddie Gray. This is what they do. They stand up for criminality because they think that's what associates with the left and the inner city left. That's why they talk to them about prison reform, ghettoism. They prop up rappers like Jay-Z and P. Diddy, till that bites them on the tuchus. But nonetheless, they do. They glorify this kind of criminality, make excuses for it. Look at Khalil Mahmoud. Here is a guy who wishes to destroy the Western civilization that these members of Congress took an oath to defend. They did. Defended from enemies, foreign and domestic. And here is a man who wishes to destroy the very fabric of the thing that they defend, that they took an oath to defend, and go visit him in court and argue for his release. This is the left. We need not be surprised. What we need to do is to see the criminal, recognize the criminal, look at our watches, our pocket watches, or wherever it is you get your time, cell phones nowadays, and you wait for which politician on the left is going to defend him or her. And they will, beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's insane. It's crazy to watch. It happens all over our society, anywhere and everywhere. And it's always the people on the left who are doing it. So I'm not surprised at them. I'm not surprised that they support Abrego Garcia. If you're asking yourself, why do they keep doing it no matter what the news is? That is why. Because they're looking at the inner city and they're going, I know they support this guy. I know they do, but they don't. They don't. You see, it's hard to actually relate to a group of people you never visit. It's hard to relate to a neighborhood, town, constituency you've never broken bread with. Ask them. Talk to the people in East Hartford. Talk to the people in West Hartford. Talk to the people in Hartford. Talk to the people in Bridgeport. Talk to them. Ask them whether or not they see any of their elected officials coming through, patronizing their businesses. No, never. Not without a camera in tow. Not without a press junket to make themselves look good. Hey, look, I'm buying ice cream from this place that I'm never ever going to return to. Yeah. And everybody smiles while the rest of the community suffers. Look, Abrego Garcia is just nothing more than today's Jordans. They'll find something else to glom onto. When Abrego Garcia, his pretty much, his usefulness has waned, when he becomes redundant, when the party brokers and the what do you call those folks? The apparatus inside the Democratic Party, the pollsters, when they start giving them, it's like, hey, support for Abrego Garcia is going down. It's really not tracking all that well. We're going to need another tactic. Any other criminals we can support? Now we got nothing this week. Let's see if we can just switch gears. See if you can do some more cursing on TikTok. The kids seem to like that. All of this is about trends. Everybody's trying to recapture Barack Obama. Remember that? Do you remember that? I do. Barack Obama was the Twitter president. He got on Twitter. He immediately started to relate to younger people, and he was the Twitter president. It just was. And people are trying to recapture that, trying to see if they could get the Obama magic back. But they fail to realize that the whole problem with the culture today is that it's fleeting. Every new hit record is garbage 6 months later. They move on quickly. I realized this when I was working at Hot 97 in New York. This is just goes to show you how the culture works. And when the Democrat Party aligns itself, it doesn't realize how the culture works. Because, again, that's the Democrat Party, right? They want to be a part of the culture, but remember, they never get close enough to recognize how it works. So I'm working at Hot 97. I'll never forget it. 2001 is when I first started radio. I was just interning. I was a news guy, but never on the mic. And I'll never forget, we were sitting there, and the station used to do this thing called Back in the Day. Every radio station does it now and again. But, the voice of the station comes on, and they'll do this old school segment. And remember, it's 2001 when they started this over at the station. And they go, back in the day, 1998. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It's 2001. That's not back in the day. It's like yesterday. What are you talking about? But that's when I realized it. When the culture is disposable, right? The culture is ever-changing, ebb and flowing. What's cool now is never cool forever because it immediately becomes old. Because in order for the culture to be a culture, it has to be new and fresh. Even if it waits 10, 15, 20 years to regurgitate that thing. It's got to be new and fresh and entertaining to the new group. You can bring it back from the past, but not immediately after. So I think that's where the whole thing. Call Stephen A. or Charles Barkley. I just understand that. So I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking of all the people that in the beginning we were all enraged about or all talking about their stories, and then we found out what happened, and everything they were doing was criminal. And sure enough, the left had to start backing away. They tried so much to uplift Michael Brown. They tried so much to uplift Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Trayvon Martin. And as more and more of the truth came out, more and more people had to back away. It was sad. I do remember this. And I talk about the Michael Brown thing. I always remember that part of the story. And it tells you exactly how horrible all of this is. When witnesses of the Michael Brown shooting by Officer Darren Wilson happened, there was witnesses who told the local police that they saw Michael Brown with his hands up saying, "Don't shoot," and Darren Wilson gunned him down. Many people said he was shot in the back. This was before the autopsy came out. When Obama put the federal government in charge and brought the DOJ down to Ferguson, Eric Holder was on the ground and went to talk to those witnesses that the local police had spoken to. And many of those people showed up with attorneys. And the Justice Department thought that was odd that these innocent witnesses would show up with attorneys. But what we then learned was that those witnesses were coming in to change their stories. Why? Because the feds were involved and they knew they were lying. And when they were asked why they lied, they simply said, it looked like something was happening that was big and we wanted to be a part of it. So we told the story that would sort of help the myth. Sad, but it's true. How you doing, Dre? Welcome to the show. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. I have the cure.
Ain't no break, man.
Oh, there isn't? Oh, that's
Straight
right.
to the bottom.
I'm so used to it. We're going straight to the bottom. How we doing, Dre? Welcome to the show, sir. I forgot we're going right to the bottom of the hour. That's right. We're online. I got caught up in my own thing, Roland. I'm sorry. It was in my own head. And my body clock is saying at 27, we go to break. That's all. I have to retrain.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
You do it all the time? Okay, good. Yes, they became the story, Lori. That's exactly right. These people wanted to be so much a part of the story. They saw this momentum in the news media. They were gaining celebrity because of it. They were willing to lie in order to blow up this myth. And when the feds got in, they were scared. This is serious. It's no longer a joke. People ask the question, why do people lie? No one knows why liars lie. Some people have motives, but it's usually about self-preservation, something that they have they're trying to keep. In that case, they were trying to, keep their notoriety. They thought they were helping Michael Brown by lying about him. But when the feds got involved, they knew that something was up. Somebody was going to find out what was going on. And they immediately confessed that none of it was true. And when that happened, when Eric Holder gave that speech telling people, I implore you to read the 87-page report. He needed them to, because they were under the impression, many people in Ferguson were under the impression that the Obama administration was going to sweep this under the rug. He knew that the groundswell, this animosity towards the police and Darren Wilson was so palpable that something was going to explode. And if the Obama administration, with the first black attorney general, with the first black president, had actually cleared a white police officer, that would have been it. So they begged the public to read that report. And that's why everything changed. Now we can take a break. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. Top of the hour, bottom of the hour coming up. It's Reese on the radio.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, yes, and we're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Look at John Beckman in there. A couple of old cohorts from back on the West Coast coming in to hang out. Barack was a pawn for imperialism. I don't know anything about that. Okay, I need to say this today, and I was thinking about this for a long time. You guys remember during the whole election last year when Joe Biden's going to drop out. We know he's going to drop out. We know he's going to drop out. We know he's going to drop out. Okay, fine. There were a lot of you who said, if they do anything, they need to just bring in Michelle Obama. And for years, I had been telling you, no, Michelle Obama is never ever going to, she's never going to go. She's never going to join. She's never going to run for anything. Political office, forget about it, Democrats. She is not going to run. And I said, I know exactly why she isn't, but I will never tell. And I stood by that for years. When I say I stood by this for over 10 years on what I'm about to say. I would have never told. I am not the type of person that goes against their word. I said, and I could have come out and just said it. Here it is. Here's the reason why she won't run. But I kept my word. I said I won't. And then Michelle Obama decided to do a podcast. And from what I gather, it's not very popular other than to poke fun at. I don't know what that's about. I thought people really liked Michelle Obama. But as I said a long time ago, it's not true. Sadly, Michelle Obama has fabricated fanfare. She is not the most liked first lady in the country, or ever for that matter. She never has been. All of that is manufactured. It is a desire for this black woman to be adored, liked. Her personality is awful. How she engages with people is very condescending. She is smart. She is bright. But she is wrought with grievance. By everyone. With everyone. It is not just about her being a black woman who's upset about this. That isn't the case. So I understand yesterday or the day before on her podcast, she revealed something that a lot of people always knew but would not talk about. And I heard people kind of rumbling about it, but they would not approach it. But like I said, I was never going to tell until Michelle Obama actually said it. So here it is. Michelle Obama would never run for elected office, could not run for elected office because she suffers from one problem. And it is not what you think. Please stop calling her a man. It is not because of that. It's because Michelle Obama has had a long history of mental fitness ailments. She is not very mentally fit. If you listen to her podcast, she explains it to you. She all but explained the fact that her and Barack have had to go to couples counseling. She's had to go to therapy. She's made this very clear. Now, I never expected her to bring this out, but I knew it was coming. Here's why. Because she is grievance-filled. Everything in the world is happening to Michelle Obama. No matter what she has achieved in her life, whether it be handed to her or anything, everything that in her life has been handed to her. Her praise handed to her, unearned. No one knows anything about Michelle Obama. You know that. She is the most praised first lady no one knows about. There are more rumors about that woman. Why? Why do those rumors even exist? Because nobody knows her. They don't. They don't know her. She is the most mysterious woman in the world. Hell, everybody knows Laura Bush got in a car accident that got a guy killed. Everybody knows that. But they know virtually nothing about the most popular first lady in history. Chris Rock said that Michelle Obama is like your mom. She's supposed to be Black America's mom, and they know nothing about her. And as you listen to her podcast, what do you keep hearing? Grievance. And all of it was finally revealed in, I guess, yesterday's podcast, where all she talked about was mental fitness, which she lacks. She cannot deal with pressure. She is always under pressure. Everything is always a problem with everyone else. It's never her. She is not self-reflecting in any way. That's why it's like that. So she can't run for political office at all. She is, again, it's not like she's got some sort of, she's got no, like Joe Biden. She doesn't have cognitive issues, but she can't really focus on things. Can you imagine having an elected official who always finds a way for it to be someone else's fault? There's no accountability. All she talks about is, as a black woman, we have to do this. As a black woman, people can't even give us if you listen to her podcast, just one, that's all you'll ever hear is about how poorly she is treated as a person. And I'm like, this woman? But that's the capacity of her. That's how she operates. Lori says coworkers said she never knew who she was. Said they never knew who she was at the place she worked prior to Barry's election. Yes, no one knows her. No one knows her. Think about all the rumors you've heard about Michelle Obama over the years. Some people have lied and said, the kids ain't hers. Malia and Sasha, yeah. People have argued that their children are even hers. I mean, there are rumors out there that suggest, hey, have you ever seen a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant? Apparently, there are no photos. So, I mean, I always say it's not so much about the conspiracy theory. It's always about what's behind it, right? You can always come up with a conspiracy theory, but what gives it legs? The lack of clear evidence to the contrary. That's how that works. So you hear these people talking about Michelle Obama, even the rumors about her being a man, right? You have all of this circumstantial evidence. Like people always go to the Ellen thing where she's dancing, where someone says they see something in her pant leg. Which, by the way, that video always gets me. I keep saying, nah, that's not true. That's digitally enhanced. It's just fun. I just find it incredible. It's always interesting. But I say that's what lends it. It lends itself to this scrutiny because there's lack of evidence to the contrary. Not that I'm saying you have to, right? I'm not saying you have to, like Michelle Obama has to come up and find a pregnancy photo in order to finally put an end to it. But it does beg the question, why doesn't anyone ever, like, why isn't there one? I know, I'm sorry, ladies, do you, if you have children, are you going to tell me there isn't a picture of you? There isn't a picture of you pregnant? Really? It's like, I kind of look at it like women when they're pregnant, whether they take pictures of themselves like during like the first trimester or the second trimester, but the third trimester, it's just one of those things where like how big you are. Like my friend Apple, she is a little person. She's like 5'2". When she was pregnant with Abby, her youngest, her belly, I thought she swallowed like, like a meteor. She is like bloated. Her stomach looks twice her size. So women take photographs of that because it kind of is a scientific phenomenon. It's like, can you believe that the human body can do this? So to not have Michelle Obama's pregnancy photos kind of is odd because you're just looking at it as any other normal person would. You're looking at it going, nah, when I had my babies and my belly got big, that's a sense of pride. We took photographs of that and sent it to the grandparents. Oh, look how big we're getting. That's just me. It's my yeah, Polly, you're not even right. They're not even right. Some people are just mean-spirited. Anyway, make sure that you stick around today. We are going to finally have, how are we going to end abortion in the inner city? How are we going to end abortion in the inner city? I don't know how I didn't figure it out all this time. I got more Leticia James news as well. That's actually very, very sad, this story that I'm going to read. So that's coming up as well. We're going straight to the top of the hour. Is that correct?
57.
Roland? Oh, okay. We're going straight to that. Okay, so good. All right. With that being said, Sunny Hostin, Houston. I've got stuff on her as well. Let's read some of the stuff that's in the chat room. Now I'm here. Lori says her dresser team is too busy trying to pick out her clothes on a daily basis. It's kind of true because I see her with all of these weird, like in I guess yesterday's podcast, she's doing something very interesting with her hair with all of these designs. And I was just like, she's a lot more adventurous now with her hairdos than she ever was. She always kept it very simple, very professional. And now she's gone like very, I don't want to call it Afrocentric, but very designer friendly or hair designer friendly with her hair. I don't understand it because, again, I've never understood women and their hair. And like as soon as my friends start doing the braided thing and then the weird designs in the hair, I say nothing. I said one thing once in my life and I got shut down. So I keep my mouth shut ever since. I can't touch it. Michelle Maybell looking rough these days. She does look a little tired, which I'm trying to understand that too. That she appears to be very weathered. And I think that's maybe, that could be, maybe I don't want to call it depression, but it could be symptoms of it. Sort of the upkeep, you look tired all the time. You try to dress nice, but it just doesn't show up on your face. It's like a disappointment that's going on. I don't know. It's just kind of that thing. That's why she didn't attend the inauguration, according to her. Yes, she really just wanted to take time to herself. But you're right, Lori, in this aspect, and I thought about that when I read it. She said she wanted to keep time to herself. And the first thing that came to my mind was, Michelle, all the time is yours. Unless I'm missing something. Does she have a job? Does she have a regular job? Does she have a volunteer gig she does? Does she have a foundation that she's at all the time? I don't know this because how could the media not report on it? It's Michelle Obama. They love her. They would be telling her what she's doing every day as a sign of how great she is. We never hear those stories. So saying that she needed time to herself kind of felt fake or untrue. Matt says, I understand about the pictures with ladies who are pregnant. How about the pictures of Reese in spandex bike shirt? You're never going to get those. All right. Reese, this portion of your show is Negro nonsense. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, Bob. You seem to be very offended. I'm sorry, you're going to get in your feelings today? Because if this is going to be a feelings day, I'm going to tell you that today, on Thursdays, you may have to take a break from the show. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. And I say this to, my 6 or 7 African-American listeners of the show. If Thursday is going to be that day where you're going to get all up in your feelings, where you're going to wear your heart on your sleeve, and every conversation about black people is going to send you into a tizzy, like you're going to become the Tasmanian devil, and maybe you're going to start like breaking things in your house or pulling out your hair or, having a tantrum online, pause from the show for today. Go take a break. And I got to be honest with you, I don't give 2 damns about your sensitivity. I don't care. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I don't care. I really don't. I've never cared about that because there's nothing more than emotional extortion. My feelings are hurt. Stop it. Grow up, please. And with all due respect, look, I'm not trying to sound evil here, but I'm not going to read your comments anymore. I'm just going to ignore you. So do yourself a favor and just bounce. I mean that. Bounce. All that sensitivity stuff and that turn, save that for your office. Save that for your friends that you can extort. Okay? I'm not having it. Okay? I'm not afraid of you. Complain to the front office if you gotta. Okay? Just to let them know that I hurt your feelings. Tell the bosses where Reese hurt you. I don't care. God, here's your leader. He's in the chat room now. Anyway, Rama says it's the leftism. She's had it all her life, and it's taken a toll on her. I think so. Look, getting back to the Michelle Obama thing, let me explain this to you. If she is really, really suffering, I don't understand why hash it out on the podcast. But maybe that's therapeutic to her. I know that too, because I come in here on the microphone all the time, and I'll talk about something that's going through, Therapy Thursdays. The reason why I used to do Therapy Thursdays was primarily, it's my problem, you deal with it, because I kind of wanted guidance. I didn't want to run up here and tell everybody, woe is me. The boy won't go to the Citadel. I'm horribly upset about this, and I need a good cry. No, it's like, I wanted to understand, am I the only person going through this? And usually you're not. And I think that's the way it is. right? Everything you think is isolated to your life, that's isolated to your way of life. You open your mouth and start talking to people, and then you realize that everything you're going through is relatable to someone else. And the beauty of that is by sharing it, their experiences help you. So I kind of feel, now I don't know if that's happening with Michelle Obama, because I don't think she's taking live phone calls. I don't think she's reading comments from people. That's always been a red flag to me, is that you got to take the slings and arrows as well. And you have to be able to endure that. If you're going to do a podcast that she's doing, there are going to be some people who are critical of the stuff she's talking about or are going to ask her tough questions. Okay, Michelle Obama, you've lived kind of a charmed life for the past 10, 15 years. What's the problem? You got a Martha's Vineyard home worth $15. You were in Spain just a month ago. You travel all over the country. Probably no meal you've ever eaten has been paid for. Someone has paid for it for you. Literally, you tell Vogue magazine you want to be on the cover, and they'll probably put you on the cover in 2 months in a row. What's going on? And every reasonable person has a right to ask that. What's going on? Now, again, that isn't to say that she's not dealing with her own mental issues. I'm being very fair here. That isn't to say she isn't. I'm just pointing out that if she wants help, you ask for it. If you don't and you just want to grieve, if you just want to go, yeah, grievance, then no. Nobody's got time for that. Yeah, Tim, I may have to block you. I may have to. So let me just put it this way. Say something else. Write something else that I don't approve of. And we'll just end that relationship real quick. I dare you. Okay? Yeah, I'm going there today. I've got an attitude. See, the difference between me and Michelle Obama is at least I express it. So, you, go ahead, please. Say something smart. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. Say something smart. You know what? I got some time for him. Let's go to George before we go to a break. How we doing, George?
Hi, Reese. How do you put down the Democrat Party once and for all? You demonstrate to the public that they're as ancient as the horse and buggy. You create a new industrial revolution. You take all these tariffs, you bring back all the industries that have been lost for 30 years, and you add some. There is nothing more powerful than the American public, the industry of the American public. These are the new Nobel Prize winners that are out there right now, and you're about to see it. You're about to see the new industrial revolution under Trump.
I'm hoping that you're right.
I'm confident that Trump can bring back all the old industries and add some, and turn the trade deficit into something positive. There is nothing more powerful than the creativity of the American public. I can see it out there. It's happening, and you're going to see it with AI. You're going to find people instructed in law and in engineering, and they're going to finally turn everything around.
You're absolutely right, George. Let's get to some traffic and weather. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Let's get to some weather and traffic, our first of the show with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing out there, sir?
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I don't understand why I'm getting these weird things on the chat rooms, these people who are talking about cancer treatment. I know it's spam, but I just can't believe that I'm getting it. It's kind of weird that they're showing up. The telephone number is still the same, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We are still waiting for the Red Sox game to end, according to this. Oh, look at that. Oh, it could go into extra innings at this rate. We're in the 8th inning, and Red Sox actually just scored another run. So we are now at 4-3. Mariners are up. So we'll see and we'll see what happens in the next, I guess, inning or so. Bottom of the, is it bottom of the ninth? Yeah, it says bottom of the ninth. So, yeah, we'll see. Likelihood that they could, I don't know, they could bring it home. Well, let's see. We'll wait and see what happens and how close they do get. And we'll, of course, let you know when we get back, and also at the top of the hour with John Silva. So Negro Nonsense coming up. It's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to get into there from Leticia James, Sunny Hostin, Houston, Houston. Also want to talk about, I figured it out, how we can get the inner city and the abortion, I guess, activists. We could actually hit them in the pockets with their money. And I'm surprised that I hadn't figured this out before. So we'll talk about that as well. So stick around for it. Tim had said something in the chat room. It was like, do something local. We're online. There are plenty of people who are listening all over the country online. Obviously, you don't know how this works. Also, by the way, if you ever want this spot, come get it. If you ever want the 3 to 6 spot, come get it. I say that to anyone who complains about the way in which I do the show. I got no issues with you. Come and get it. Come and get it. I know there are people out there who are better at this than me. If you think you are, please don't be shy. Come get it. I love healthy competition. We'll get into that as well. There is, I know there was some old stuff that I needed to get into, and it was this one. Let me find this real quick because I had it here, and I just didn't bring it up. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I know. So apparently there's a story based upon Donald Trump's Truth Social, who says that he's going to be meeting with Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of the Atlantic magazine. And you might as well remember, and we talked about him here, the Atlantic magazine and Jeffrey Goldberg, they wrote this article about he was involved or, brought in to a signal chat or signal conversation with many of the cabinet members as Pete Hegseth was breaking down the attack on the Houthis. Jeffrey Goldberg, trying to say that, this was classified information that he was privy to, was saying that he was concerned about releasing any of it because the names of individuals like operating CIA agents were in jeopardy, that this could have caused them, great harm if this had gotten to the hands of the wrong people. Well, Jeffrey Goldberg was embarrassed because the person in which he was suggesting turned out to be the chief of staff for the head of the CIA, not a CIA agent. So that blew up in his face. And the media has tried really, really hard to keep this story afloat because they wish to go after Pete Hegseth. And why? Because Pete Hegseth is not a neocon, and he is going to go into the Pentagon and he's going to root out anyone and everyone who is a war hawk trying to get our young, brave men and women into conflicts overseas and endless wars. And they wish to get rid of Pete Hegseth because they want one of their own. NSA director Brennan was the same. There was the same case with him. Not Brennan. What was his name? Gosh, why am I forgetting his name now? Somebody's going to remind me in the chat room. Whom the NSA director, the one that Trump had to get rid of because they thought he had lied to Mike Pence. Anyway, moving on from that. So now Donald Trump's going to have this meeting with Jeffrey Goldberg. Anyway, he's going to do this interview with him. And Donald Trump just says that this interview is Donald Trump challenging himself to see if the Atlantic will be fair and balanced. Even though the Atlantic is also the paper that wrote the hoax about losers and suckers. That story that Donald Trump went to Normandy and called people who died in World War II losers and suckers. Trump is still going to allow Goldberg into the White House to do an exclusive interview with him. And people don't know how to take it. They're making a lot of news about it. Why would you bring this guy into the fold? And look, I think that Trump 2.0 is different from Trump 1.0. And I don't know if they know, but I definitely know.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It has to be a trap. It has to be. What other reason could you get? This newspaper, this magazine, whatever it is, every chance they get without access into the White House, they are writing the worst and most ridiculous stories that have completely been debunked. But they keep writing them. And now Donald Trump is bringing them back. Now, I hope, look, if it's a charm offensive, fine. I'll take the L on this one. Donald Trump in that case. And I'll say this right out loud. If Donald Trump thinks that he's going to bring in Jeffrey Goldberg and charm him to death to get a good article out of him, Donald Trump is a knucklehead. Okay? I will tell you right off the bat, dumbest move ever. But I really don't think so. I think that they are bringing him in, Jeffrey Goldberg, that is, to set a trap for him. I think they are. And I think they're going to fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. That thirstiness that Goldberg and the Atlantic have to undo this presidency, to delegitimize it, is so adamant. It's so obvious that it's one of those things where all you have to do is bring them into the White House, get them close to you, and lay out the breadcrumbs. And they will eat up every one of them. That's what they will do. They will eat up every one of them. And it will end badly. And I know, just in my heart of hearts, this is one of those things where you take Jeffrey Goldberg, you get him into a situation where you can destroy his credibility. Like I would say, Donald Trump and Goldberg behind the scenes having a conversation, no one else in the room, in the Oval Office, sitting at the Resolute desk, and him asking Goldberg something quietly like, you know, I don't think you really hate me. I think you're doing it to sell papers. I think you lie on me because there's so much Trump hate out there that you know it sells newspapers. I think you secretly like me. And Goldberg said something like, no, Mr. President, I really do like you. I think you're a great person. I think that you've had a stellar career. And then that whole time be taping him saying glowing things about him. That's exactly what I think is going on. I think that's exactly what's going on here. What happened to Tim Scott and Byron Donalds in the political wilderness? Wait a minute, how are they in the political wilderness? I don't understand that, Donald. And are you mentioning Tim Scott and Byron Donalds because they're both black? And they tell me not to bring up race. What's Tim Scott and Byron Donalds? Are they supposed to get a position because they're black? I mean, are you expecting DEI from the DEI killing Donald Trump administration? That would sound counterproductive. Like, why would we bring in Tim Scott and Byron Donalds? Because they're black? Byron Donalds is running for governor of Florida. Did you miss that? He's on an active campaign to become governor of Florida. And it looks very much like he's going to win that. And Tim Scott's got a very, very prominent role in the Senate out of South Carolina. What was he supposed to do? He was in the running to be VP, but I think they made a good choice with J.D. Vance. He's got a better story. He's got an American story. I'm not exactly understanding. Well, maybe it might be my bad. Maybe you really don't follow this politics thing that tough. I do. I don't give two damns about Tim Scott, with all due respect. People say that to me all the time. I was at this Republican fair in Virginia, and this old actress said to me, she goes, "Oh, you're a Republican?" I mean, yeah. She goes, "What do you think of Tim Scott?" I said, "Ma'am, I don't think about Tim Scott. What are you talking about?" "What do you mean, what do I think of Tim Scott? I don't think of him." Oh, she didn't even know how to react to that. Oh, and I immediately caught it. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That's right, because he's black. Is that supposed to mean something to me? People don't know how to respond to that. That means nothing to me. It does. I don't care. Tim Scott's okay. You know, I like Byron Donalds. I mean, he's all right. I think he's feisty, and he fights back. I love to watch him on congressional hearings. He's absolutely fantastic in cross-examining some of these witnesses. I think he can work on it a little better. He's got fire in him. He punches back. That's probably my favorite thing about any Republican for that matter. Don't take that stuff lying down. That's the way I look at that. A lot of these guys, a lot of these people in politics talk a good game quietly alone by themselves. I'll give you another example. Chris Murphy's a perfect example of this. You notice Chris Murphy is never in hostile territory. Never in hostile territory. He won't ever be in hostile territory. It's got to be tongue bath, fair and balanced, kind-hearted, no confrontation. If it is, it's minute. Never held, his commentary is never held to account. He's never forced to have to answer for some of the most ridiculous things he ever said. He'll never go into interviews like that. Well, he'll talk big game on every one of these favorable outlets and in all of these newspapers and magazines. We need to get out there and talk to people who are different than us. Hey, Chris, come on my show. Well, we're a little busy. Like I said, and it would be easy to just call him a coward, but it's not about him being a coward. It isn't even about him being afraid. It's not about that. It's not about him being afraid. It's about not being able to answer some of the things. What you need to do, what Chris Murphy wants to do is to throw rocks from the roof, never on the ground. That's who he is politically. That's who these people are. That's why I try to talk to him. Because throwing them from the roof, or dropping water balloons from the apartment building and never coming downstairs to actually throw them in somebody's face, that's the difference between them and me. I attacked his girlfriend. When did I attack his girlfriend? I said she was younger than him. That's a fact. I didn't even call. In fact, someone who I put up the picture said that she wasn't very attractive, and I said I didn't think that was fair. I thought she was mildly attractive. Richard says Chris would wet his pants if he was ever confronted with an opposing point of view. Yeah, I think he would stammer through that interview. I don't think he's qualified to actually, but then again, that's the whole thing. It's being able, that's the analogy. Throwing the water balloons from the top of, from the top of the roof or from the apartment window and never being on the ground throwing it at the person who's right in front of them who can throw a water balloon back. That's the difference between, some of us, a Byron Donalds versus a Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy, the biggest opposition he ever shows up on is Shannon Bream over on Fox News Sunday. Right? And Shannon Bream's never been known to be a hard-hitting journalist for the right. She's a very fair and even-keeled reporter. She keeps it on a very Chris Wallace level, back in his early days. So she's not confrontational. You'll never see him up against a Jesse Waters. You'll never see him up against like a Brett Baer. They've done very little for the inner cities in Connecticut. Yeah, but you still support them. You still support them over Republicans. If you had to vote, you still support them, Donald. You know you would. You love these guys. Republicans are the enemy. The enemy. Chris Murphy will always get your vote. He can ignore you forever. He's got that vote in the bag. And that's kind of how it works, right? I wouldn't talk to you if I know I got your vote. I know I don't have to. What's he going to do? That's what Barack Obama said about the black vote in 2012. What are you going to do, vote Republican? Come on. They're just not going to show up. I'd say he knew that. He laughed at y'all. Laughed at you. Anyway, we're going to take a break. Where are we at? The game's over, right? No, we're still at the bottom of the ninth.
Nah, it's not quite over yet.
Yeah, looks like we're still at the bottom of the ninth. How many strikes we got? Oh, 2 strikes. Yeah, this is like, wow, that came out of nowhere. What the hell? Was that a bust? Let's get another check of the traffic and weather with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center, and then we'll get the score. Hey, Mark, are we officially back now? I'm assuming that we
You're
are.
up.
Oh, yeah, we're back. Hey, all right.
You got 1 minute.
Yeah, I know. All right, we're back on regular radio. I hope you guys are ready to rock. We got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into, so stick around. Sad the Red Sox lost, but, hey, so it goes. They still have a winning record, and, that's just the way it goes. But anyway, we got plenty of stuff coming up. Negro Nonsense very, very soon. And, of course, I said this earlier. Stay tuned. Reese on the Radio is figured out how to end, well, if not, put a nice little nick in the pocketbooks of Planned Parenthood in and around the country. Okay? So stick around for that. We've got all of that coming up as well. And we got Sunny Hostin, Houston of The View, Leticia James coming up. And what was the other thing? And I know that I had it here, so forgive me because I don't have my list in front of me. Yeah, that was it. Oh, we already talked about it. And that was the Atlantic is doing an interview exclusively with Donald Trump. Donald Trump talking about it on Truth Social. So we'll get into that as well. And if you're just joining us, I'll also break down what the opening monologue was about how the left has always chosen crime as a way to identify with the inner city. We'll talk about that a little bit as well in case you missed it. All right, so stick around for that. Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher are coming up. They are in the BPS Traffic Center. And they've got both your weather and traffic. All right, Mark, we're back on. We're back at it.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back.
Be right back. Don't answer no calls.
I won't. We're back. Strap sit still, because it's happening. Negro nonsense. Negro nonsense. Negro nonsense. There is more fallout with Leticia James, and oh, baby, this is a good one. This is a good one. Leticia James, sadly enough, is going through this mortgage fraud situation where she's standing up and saying, I will not be deterred. I will not be led astray. I will not be intimidated. But she's got other problems. According to the headline, Leticia James is a slumlord. New York attorney Leticia James, champion of the poor and wretched, is now facing criticism for her conduct as a landlord. Records from the New York City Department of Buildings and Department of Housing Preservation and Development, also known as HPD, indicate a troubling pattern of neglect at her 5-unit apartment building at 296 Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn. In the past 20 months alone, there have been 17 complaints against James with the New York City Department of Buildings, 2 of which were this year, 2025. These include unauthorized constructions, that's work without permits, the altercation of load-bearing wall permits, illegal use of apartments as hotel rooms, I'm assuming it's Airbnb, illegal conversion, a fence over the height limit, and the failure to notify authorities of scaffold work. But what's more alarming of all the 4 of Leticia James' tenants, they listed having bed bugs infestations and reinfestations. Of course, you know, bed bugs are bad. There's also complaints of peeling paint Peeling paint usually means that there's lead. Usually does, at least according to most building inspectors, especially in the older buildings. Because of that lead-based paint, there may be other infractions. But Leticia James, I think, a month ago? I think she just posted this on X. I can't believe she did. But then again, what else is new? She wrote, all New Yorkers deserve fair, stable housing, and I will always take on landlords who try to evade our laws for their own financial gain. Learn more about your rights as a tenant, she wrote. This on February 18th of this year. This is so typical of this woman. That's how horrible of a person she is. That's why I put focus on her. But not to be outdone. Sunny Hostin, Houston. This is the race baiter on The View. And I do believe this from the bottom of my heart. I believe that the reason why Sunny Hostin, Houston is a race baiter, because I think it's in her blood.
I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah.
I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Yeah, some things never change there, homegirl. Some things never change. Did you hear that, the way that she laughed? And my family were slave owners.
I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah.
She was a little embarrassed about that. Sunny Hostin, Houston on The View. After finding out that Donald Trump wants to give $5,000 to people to have babies. Well, apparently they found a problem with that over at The View, and in particular, Sunny Hostin, Houston. But it was weird because I didn't really understand. She did a lot of ahas for stuff that made no sense. Here's her, I guess, theory about why Donald Trump would be offering $5,000 for people to have more babies.
When I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births. But that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned.
What are you talking about? Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers, which means what?
About that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I said enough.
Based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing
But
I will.
Have they said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
it would be fair.
It's just fair to who? It's just a.
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You
I
have
just
to read
gave
between the
stats.
lines.
I just gave the stats.
Yeah, but it's about economics. They're wanting people to pay in.
I'm just giving.
Now, I never understood what the big ruckus was over The View, like why this was a problem. And as I kept hearing the theories about it, I'm just listening going, okay, so if I'm getting this right, the problem with the birth rate of the country is that the largest population has a declining birth rate. And the incentive is to get more people in that declining group to have more babies. Let's take their view on this. Let's take Sunny Hostin, Houston, Whoopi Goldberg, and every other bigot on that show from their point of view. The problem of having more white babies means what? Just what? What does it mean? If there are more white babies, it means that the country will be more white, which means what? That's all I want to know. What does it mean? And if there's the declining, remember what she said, the increase in birth were Hispanics and Asians. She didn't say black. She said Hispanics and Asians, which, by the way, why are Hispanics outnumbering African Americans 2-1, close to 3-1. By the way, do you remember when that happened? Does anybody remember when that happened? When Hispanics, it was the first time that the Hispanic population outnumbered the African American population in the country 2-1 in 2000. Anybody remember that? I do. I remember it well. Why? Because there was an overwhelming number of people in the African American community who aborted their children. At one time in New York City, 10 years ago, there were more babies aborted in New York than they were born. Look it up. Don't listen here. Go look it up. Go do your little research. I don't want anybody over sitting and go, that's not true. Yes, it is. New York City painted or changed the colors of the Empire State Building during Andrew Cuomo's tenure to the color of pink to celebrate what? Legal abortion up until the date of birth in New York City. Look it up. Look it up. In a town that had more black babies aborted than born. Look it up. Everybody knows it's true. Don't leave it to me. I'll embarrass you. Don't leave it to me. You can doubt me all day, but you know I know. Now, Sunny Hostin, Houston would never, ever suggest that black women have more babies. Would never suggest that. Why? Because it goes against the what? Planned Parenthood abortion narrative. Immediately, it would go against that. Because she is stand by Planned Parenthood, stand by the abortion lobby, stand by abortion for everyone at any time. So she couldn't. When we come back, I'm going to explain to you, really, really easy. I'm going to explain to you how you can turn all of that around. Scare the hell out of people like Sunny Hostin, Houston. Make them completely decide on their own to start promoting more people in the inner city to have babies. And I know if you're thinking your wheels are spinning now, I bet you know exactly how it's done. It's the only way to get anything done politically or ideologically in the country right now. Because again, I don't understand it. Sunny Hostin, the reason why her show is number 1 or number 2 in her time slot is because she has an overwhelming viewership of white women. It's just a fact. They're not breaking ground with the black audience. But here is that woman on television saying that Donald Trump is trying to promote white birth, as if to suggest that he has a Mein Kampf-like bent on bringing more of the master race into existence. And what she's doing is actually saying how that's a bad idea. How the declining birth rate, she would rather keep it as it is. Because you couldn't make an argument any other way. They can't. Because all I want to know is, I need to understand what is bad about this. That's the only thing I'm trying to understand. And I don't think that they can. So you heard, listen to her. She clearly does not want more white babies. Or she is telling white people, if you follow this and actually have a baby so that you can get $5,000 from Trump, you're a racist. You're trying to make this a pure white country.
When I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births. But that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Yeah, black and white, stupid. If the only increases were Asian and Hispanic, would you forget the other races? That means that blacks were included in that as well. Bob in the chat room says, do you think Donald Trump wants more black babies born? No, Bob, but I know you don't. Bob, I know you don't want more black babies born. I know you're against the population of black babies growing. I know that right off the bat. You have no interest in increasing black babies. I know that you have no interest in black families. I know that you support the degradation of black life in this country. How do I know that? I know that you hate black families and black babies more than Donald Trump does. I know you do. You say you're trying to make the excuse about Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump wants more black babies? If you were living your life based upon what Donald Trump likes and doesn't like, if that's going to be your excuse to everything, why exist? See, I know you don't want more black babies in the country. But guess what? Guess who does? The guy who's on this microphone. I've been doing it for over 25 years. I have a proven record. I have an actual accountable record that has been going after Planned Parenthood in the inner city, killing black babies for 25 years. That's this guy right here. So when I get messages from Donald talking nonsense about, I have this feeling that you don't like black people, that's funny. Then why am I fighting so hard for them to stop killing their babies in the womb? What, because I hate them? No offense. You guys make no sense. That's why no one believes you. I don't see you fighting Planned Parenthood. I see you out there saying every day, well, the woman's got a right to do whatever she wants. A woman could do whatever she wants with her body. While abortionists are eradicating the race. Dwindling numbers, fewer and fewer. Birth rate practically down to zero. Please don't bore me with the I care about black people. You don't even care about them in the womb. And you don't care about them in the street either. Stop it. I've been kicking you guys' tail on this subject forever. The only thing you want is nice things said about black people, but you got no skin in the game. None. So, with that I say, work harder. Work harder. Put your money where your mouth is. If you're smart, you join me. But I don't expect that. That I don't expect. I expect people to be who they are. So, no, you don't. Please stop telling me you love black babies. You don't. You don't love black babies. You don't. No, you don't. Let's take a break. Let's get some weather and traffic from Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, man.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Negro nonsense. Negro nonsense.
Stick around. When we come back, more Negro nonsense. How can we end abortion in the inner city? I am going to tell you how to get it done. But I want to read this statement from another leftist who doesn't know any better. And I am going to give documented evidence that I love doing. This one of my favorite things to do. Tim had said that Planned Parenthood provides health care. And when I asked behind the scenes what was the health care that they provided, he wrote, his words, not mine, contraception, STI testing, in other words, sexually transmitted disease or infections testing and treatment, cancer screening, and wellness. Okay. Contraception is not healthcare. STI testing and treatment is not healthcare. That's not the same thing. Cancer screening is healthcare. That's going to have to be debunked. And I've got the audio for it, and boy, is it embarrassing. I don't think he's ever heard this audio before, but if you haven't either, wait until we get back. It is the biggest and dumbest myth ever told to man. Because again, what did I say about Chris Murphy earlier? Throwing water balloons from the roof, throwing water balloons from the window, and never being on the ground, throwing them to the face of their opponents. When they are forced to, hamana, 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 they don't know what to say. Do you remember who Cecil Roberts was? Yes. We're going to play you some audio you've probably never heard before, along with Barack Obama and plenty of others. on health care and Planned Parenthood. So stick around for that. It will be my pleasure. Now let's get back to some weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese on the radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080. Drop it.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Phone calls are going to have to wait. We're just getting back on the air after a little bit, so I want to go through this thing, okay? You heard a lot of this stuff, this nonsense about health care being related to Planned Parenthood. It's not. Planned Parenthood is an abortion mill. It is. You don't like it, but it's a fact. And there is no health care. A lot of people tried to promote it that way. Even the lauded and Messiah himself, Barack Obama. Here's him and others talking about that same nonsense, about Planned Parenthood providing essential health care for women.
There are millions of women all across the country who rely on Planned Parenthood for not just contraceptive care, they rely on it for mammograms.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
The $500 million that gets given to Planned Parenthood every single year goes to female care. It goes for scanning for cancer. It goes for mammograms.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
That person saying that we never stated that we did is Cecil Richards, who is the former president of Planned Parenthood, with all of these people saying that, no, they give mammograms to women. Yeah. She says, we never stated that we did, and we never have.
Planned Parenthood, for example, doesn't provide mammograms. Now, I know people say they do, but they don't. In fact, they do.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
What's going to happen as a result of this, if this bill would ever becomes law, millions of women in this country are going to lose their health care access, not to abortion services, to basic family planning, mammograms.
That was Cecil Richards herself saying that women were going to lose basic health care like mammograms on The View.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
Please, with all due respect, stop. Stop. They don't provide health care. They are here to kill babies. That's it. That's what they do. And to sell their body parts. I know it's an uncomfortable truth, but it is one. I know it's an uncomfortable truth that you can't deal with, but it is one. Call it rumors, call it innuendos, but that's what they do. They promote sex all over through the schools so that kids could get unwanted pregnancies so they can fill their coffers by killing those babies to the tune of hundreds of dollars. Please spare me. Please spare me. No one's believing you anymore because the truth is out there. So if you want to live in the dark, live in the dark. That's your business. I don't care what you believe. Believe what you want. Believe what you want. But the facts will remain. You can't do anything about them. The facts are here. The only person you can lie to is yourself. The rest of us already know the deal. Now, back to my point. How can we end the inner city and its addiction, if you will, as using abortion as health care? I don't know why I didn't think of it before. But do you remember the famous words that Donald Trump gave during his speech at the joint sessions?
I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what.
So I would propose that Donald Trump echo the words of Janet Yellen, the former Fed chair. If I were him, I would repeat her words, that abortion is essential in the African-American community for financial and economic reasons. I would go on Truth Social or any place that would ask me. I would set up a reporter to ask me that question. They do it all the time. Do you think that abortion is essential in the African-American community for economic reasons? And Donald Trump would say, yeah, I remember Janet Yellen talking about that. Apparently, the statistics appear to be true, that African-Americans run the risk of getting themselves into financial ruin if they don't have abortions. What do you think the left would do? What do you think Ayanna Pressley would do? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Chuck Schumer? What do you think they would do? Nancy Pelosi? Who wouldn't be running to the nearest MSNBC studio or CNN or CBS to condemn the language of Donald Trump? And then immediately start telling African Americans that they need to have more babies. Donald Trump's trying to eradicate you. You need to stop aborting your babies. Donald Trump is encouraging you to abort your babies. That's exactly what they would do. Come on, folks, tell me I'm lying. How many Teslas have burned in your neighborhood? Huh? Come on, tell me it wouldn't work. That the left immediately, right there, would turn on a dime, would 180 without even thinking. Immediately, Planned Parenthood, all of a sudden, every known slight of Planned Parenthood's mission from its inception of Margaret Sanger would immediately be brought up by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You know that racist Margaret Sanger? Hillary Clinton would be handing over her Margaret Sanger Award on TikTok. I can no longer keep this award. Tell me I'm lying. If Donald Trump were to go out there and say, I think what Janet Yellen said was correct. African Americans are very, very much hurt and harmed by not being able to abort their children for financial reasons. Come on. You know it's true. They completely take the opposite of him. Everything he says is 100% wrong, even if he used their own words. Even if he used the words of the left. Janet Yellen said it. She said it at a Senate hearing in an exchange with Tim Scott. Even Tim Scott had to check her on that. He asked her about African-American women, and she doubled down on it. And you know she did. Let's go to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Phil in Marlboro. Thanks for holding, Phil.
Hey, Phil. Excuse me. Reese, I just got off the highway, and it's a terrible scene.
Oh.
But I'm almost in tears listening to all this because, as you know, just had my birthday, 58, my son is almost 4 months, and I don't care what color your baby is.
Right.
It just doesn't matter. I mean, take care of it. That's it.
All we want, listen, we understand that us as a country are at the level of its extinction because we listen to these climate whack jobs for far too long, and now people are opting out of having children. It's destroyed the birth rate in this country. I'm sorry, I got to cut you off. It's destroyed the birth rate in this country to astronomical levels. This isn't about whether or not they're black or they're white or they're Asian. They know the birth rate is down. We need to populate this country because far too long, for eons, gosh, since the 70s, people have been talking about depopulation. We went from, 6 billion in the 1970s? Probably about 5 billion in the 1970s. We're at 8 billion now. And even with that increase, people are still telling us that we're still growing too much. It doesn't make sense. Let's go to White Mike. What's going on, sir?
Oh, man. So I love you like a brother, but
yes,
ending abortion in the inner city is societal suicide.
Ending abortion in the inner city is societal suicide. Wait a minute. Now, I'm assuming that are you taking a little bit of the Freakonomics study here?
I'm taking a logical somebody who watches the freaking news and breathes air.
Okay, now
standpoint.
wait, stop that. That's where I stop you. Okay, hear me out. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the current state of the inner city, right?
No, it's not the current state. It's the state that's been the state since the 60s.
Okay, late.
inner city
I would say 70s, but not so much in the 60s.
Yeah.
The 70s, definitely.
Well, the Watts riots. You know, the Watts riots.
Late
the
60s. That's
Detroit
Watts riots are what, 67?
Yeah, and like Detroit was 67 or 68.
Yeah, so late 60s. Okay, fine.
Not only should abortion not be removed from the inner city, we should give out free Popeyes 2 pieces and biscuits when they get one.
Mike,
there is no benefit. There's no benefit to these people who are of that intellectual and social economic class having more people.
Oh, no. I am not. No. See, you sound like I'm advocating for just people to follow or break what we call the social norms. Have children out of wedlock, do not get an education. I'm not, in no way am I advocating that. In no normal person, Mike, would be advocating for people to just flippantly and irresponsibly just have children. That's not what I'm talking about.
What do now?
What's that?
They're going to change. They're going to change their behavior because they can't get abortions. They're just going to have more kids.
I understand, and I'm not talking about listen, if anything in the world I'm telling people is, and again, I know this because I've done this independent study. It's not scientific, but I've done it before. I asked, it was like had to be at least 30 men, 30 black and Hispanic men combined. And I said, if there was no advent of abortion, right? There was no, they've never been heard of where you could actually abort a child, that every child that was conceived had to be born. Would you rethink your promiscuity and your sexual behavior if indeed the child had to be born under those circumstances? I couldn't finish the sentence before all of them said, yeah, I would strap up. Oh, yeah, I would definitely not. They immediately did.
So you asked the demographic of men who are most likely to not pay child support.
Indeed.
What they would do in hypothetical situation.
Right, exactly. And again, I also take it. It's funny you say that. I also take into consideration, what I found to be, and I watched it closely, and I implore people, go back and watch the old tapes. Those, Maury Povich, You Are the Father videos. People think that stuff is just comedy gold. For me, it's a social, economic, and psychological breakdown of people in the inner city. When I see those young black men and Hispanic men find out that the woman they want nothing to do with is pregnant and it's their child, when they get the DNA test back, the looks on their faces is absolute torment and hatred, which again is my point. If there was no advent of abortion in those communities, trust me, you would see promiscuity hit the ground. As far as levels. No. I know you're thinking, I know you think I'm crazy.
It's human nature. They know that they're going to have a baby. They know that most of these women are not going to have abortions. They're going to have the kids, while you have black women who have like 7 different children by 7 different baby
That's
daddies.
A different scenario because they don't have first of all, those women clearly do not have the financial means to go get abortions, but if they did, they would. You know that.
Come on, dude. They don't
that's a fact. That is abortions are not cheap, my friend.
Yes, but if you have a child, the government will pay for it forever.
That's okay. I will admit, yes, there is an incentive there. There's an incentive there for that. I got to take a break, but there is an incentive there for that. But I'm still telling you, I know exactly what the behavior would be like. But thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. He's so damn controversial. Love that guy. Let's take another break. We got to get to some weather and traffic. Jason Catarina's got your weather, and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
It's our birthday. WTIC has been on the air for 100 years, and we don't look a day over 98.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I want to read this before we go to break, and I just want a particular group of people to read it in particular, but I'm going to put it there on the screen. But I want you to understand that this is a philosophy that I stand by. It's just who I am. A man once said, there is another class of colored people who make a business of keeping their troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievance because they do not want to lose their jobs. That was Booker T. Washington, a former slave. I read that because more and more people need to read it. He wrote that having been a slave. They want sympathy, and they know that it pays. If Booker T. Washington wrote that hundreds of years before Al Sharpton, it's all you need to know. That is where my philosophy comes from. So if you're stunned, if you're amazed, if you're shocked, it isn't new. It never was. Remember when Mama said ain't nothing new under the sun? She was right. Ain't nothing new under the sun. We'll take another break. Let's get some weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, man.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
I screwed up.
WTIC News Talk 1080.
I screwed up because this ridiculous screen won't stop blacking out on me. And then I have to put this long password in order to get to the phones. So, Roland, you may have to help me on this one. Hold on. You know what? I will. No, I can't do it. It's no way I can get to the computer and do the darn thing at the same time. It's just not going to happen. So completely screwed it up. Anyway, I don't care. Just get on the phones, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842, so that you can win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. I can't believe I screwed this up. I turned my back on the computer just once, and you have this. When I do the password, you have to do, they make you do 14 consonants, one number, and a special character. And I put in my wife's name, and I couldn't just do that. So I have to put so much in here. I'm writing it down now, and it's too long. That's why I always make sure that I have it in, and this whole thing is ready to go. I'm rambling now. Okay, hold on. Last letters. Hopefully I got it all right. Yes, good. There it is. All right, good to go. So now, get on the phones, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Bob says, Malcolm spoke of you in one of his speeches. No, he didn't. And you clearly never, ever listened to Malcolm X, my brother. I know you never listened to Malcolm X. No, I mean, with all due respect, I get a lot of these yahoos that come in here under the auspice of, I know Malcolm. No, you don't. No, you don't. When I talk about, here's the thing. I always have to educate these fools every day. When people ask me, you know that I love Ronald Reagan. You know that I love Rush Limbaugh. But you don't know how I followed the teachings of Malcolm X. You have no idea. I quote Malcolm X on this program. I'm one of the few people you also failed to mention, with the exception of the stations that do the hip-hop R&B, the bang-bang, shoot-em-up, Negro die, slow music all across the fruited plain. I'm the most pro-black person in the country. How do I know that? Is because I have the audacity to criticize everyone, regardless of where they come from or what their background is. Because I do it without fear or favor. That's what I do here. Please never quote Malcolm X to me. Just like you tried to quote Ronald Reagan to me the other day, and I had to give you a book to read. You know nothing about these people. Your education on them is limited. Okay? I come in here, just like you hear me talk about politics and pop culture, I come in here well-versed. I'm not a rookie. Not a rookie. I'm beyond my years on these subjects. Please never come at me with a Malcolm X quote. Never. You will be embarrassed at all levels. All levels. Try to tell people this. I got other people sitting up there talking about, are you just trying to cater to the white man? I cater to no one. I've got no friends in this. My personal friends are my personal friends. But I'm not bought and paid for. Not when people are sitting up here voting for Kamala Harris so they can get $25,000 for a house. Not when you tell me that you're going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's going to give you free marijuana. Please spare me with the who's bought and paid for. Please spare me with it. Your man Al Sharpton gets paid from every Fortune 500 company so that he can keep the pitchforks and the tiki torches away from their businesses. Please do not come at me with the who's paid for. Who's bought and paid for. That man makes over $600,000 to spew nonsense on MSNBC. That man is a reverend who talks about civil rights while at the same time going on his network telling black people to abort their babies. Please do not bore me with who's bought and paid for. I don't make enough money to be bought and paid for. Trust me, find me a check. Find me a check. Go through my financials. Tell me who's lining my pockets. No one. You want to know why they don't line my pockets? Because they know that I don't want to be in bed with them. I don't want to be a part of any of their committees. I don't want to go to any of their parties. I don't like them. I'm not their friends. I'm not their fans. I don't want any buddies and any pals in those circles. Once people start telling me what I'm supposed to think or how I'm supposed to behave, and they want to put money in my pocket to do so, I am no longer a free man. When you start taking money for housing, when you start taking money for food stamps, when you start taking money from the government, you start taking money from politicians, you are what we call bought and paid for. Ain't no sellouts over here, brother. Go talk to your brothers and sisters about that. I don't get down like that. Never have, never will. Everybody knows my integrity is intact. And I dare anyone to test me on it. Anybody. I stand toe-to-toe with any one of them. You'll find no check marks. You'll find no written checks by anybody. Anyway, yes, don't tell me Al Sharpton never told anybody to abort his babies. Are you serious? Okay, let me let you in on a little bit of a secret. Okay, because I don't name drop here. Yours truly attended the Al Sharpton wedding the Sunday after the death of Aaliyah on August 26, 2001. The night before that, I sat at the dinner table at Mr. Chow's next to Martin Luther King III and David Dinkins, the former mayor of New York. I've been to Al Sharpton's National Action Networks. I've been to his churches. I've been in the pews with him. I've been on the radio with him. I've talked to him and communicated with him. And yes, he does promote the abortion of black babies because he supports abortion. Because why? Because he gets a check too. He is bought and paid for. Slow your roll. You don't know who I know because I don't name drop. Unless I have to. Now with that, we move on. Let's go to Jason in Newington. Hey, Jason.
Good afternoon, Reese. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's good. First time, long time. I got a question for you. I know earlier today you're talking about, Trump giving $5,000 to families having babies going forward and, to help with the birth population, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking a little bit forward to that.
Okay.
Getting the birth rate in the right direction is, I'm on board with that. $5,000 is good. But whenever it comes to raising a child, I think that they're kind of like a flower or even, a crop. Having the right nurturing, the right food, the right water to go and bring up that crop the right way, to make it flourish would be good. So what I'd be asking you is, you have the baby, right?
Yeah.
How do you get the family to stay together to go and raise the child appropriately and morally correct?
I think you're
fruitful for society.
I think you're 100% right about that. That's exactly what my debate with White Mike was about, because again, and that's sort of like the pushback is like, if you put that incentive of $5,000, the most reckless of all people are going to say, I'm just pushing out babies and being the most irresponsible person in the world to get that $5,000. I'm so glad Donald Trump is being vague about this, because I believe it's not going to be a check given out. When people realize this, that they're not going to get a check in the mail once they push out a baby, then it's going to be, well, wait, what does this mean? If he uses it as a tax credit, right? In essence, you see it in dividends, right? It's not, in essence, the person who is doing that actually has to be somebody with actual skin in the game, a taxpayer, somebody of the middle class. That's not someone in the inner city, where very rarely do they ever file W-2s, okay? I mean, let's be honest. They don't.
Honestly, yeah, no, I agree with you. And I know, my wife and I guess maybe we don't help out the birth rate. We only have 2 kids and we didn't get 3.
Right.
The thing is I know nowadays to raise a child and just to get them to age 18, this was a study a few years ago, but they were saying it was around like $300,000.
It's 330, I think, was the last number I read as well. You're 100% right. You're in the ballpark at least.
Yeah, indeed. So, the thing is $5,000 check, even if you invest it, I don't think you're going to be able to make it, $300,000 in the long run. So, yeah.
But that's also the reason why I say, like, you'd have to be, and I think you understand this too, Jason. Imagine the type of reckless you would have to be, that you would bring a child into the world for a one-time payment of $5,000 to then have that child live in perpetual poverty for the rest of his life, to have a very limited future under those circumstances. That's why I think that this incentive, although like the way he described it was very matter of fact, but I think it's going to be far more nuanced. I think people are making more of it than the actual details are. That's why.
Yeah, and I mean, and I honestly, I'm just thinking out of the box, that there is even more tax incentives for people to stay together and have a, good moral families. So whenever they do have children, that they can be brought up correctly.
Yeah.
With patriotic values in the United States. I kind of think that would help out the most.
I wish more people read that Brookings Institute research back in the 80s, was it? That broke down this whole deal about what is the way to be more successful in your life. And the Brookings Institute, which is, again, one of the most left-leaning, thought leaders in the country, they broke down the one way to ensure that your life doesn't end up in poverty is to, 1, get an education, 2, do not have children out of wedlock, wait to get married, and get a job. Like, they make having children the last thing that you do. And again, this is their study that said that 9 times out of 10, you will not have a poverty-stricken child if they follow that metric. And that metric is the metric that every mainstream America teaches their children.
Yeah, I mean,
it just does. That? But I'll tell you this, Jason, I've told this before, but I'll tell you again, because it's been a long time since I said it. And by the way, we're going to make you the last but not least caller of the day, so you can win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months. But let me tell you this. A girlfriend of mine who lives in she lives in New Milford now, but from Danbury. She's from Danbury. I remember she told me about this study. And it talked about the difference between the inner city at the dinner table and the suburban dinner table. And she said at the suburban dinner table, many of their children are taught, get an education, get a good job, find a great spouse or partner, start, once you get the great job, find a good home, and then start a family. In the inner city, it's a more preventative lifestyle that they talk about. Don't join a gang. Don't do drugs. Don't get pregnant out of wedlock. It's always the things and the fears. There's not a lot of promoting of the positives. So when you have 2 different dynamics where they're being brought up, where one is hopeful and the other is fearful, that's how you start from the ground up on where you end up. You end where you begin. is sort of the dynamic of it all. But I thank you for the call. Okay, real quick.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, I mean, people respond to economic incentives, so, how do you steer them morally that way?
Exactly.
But any which way, no. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it, and
My pleasure.
I love your show. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Jason will be our last but not least caller of the day. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. He is Mark Christopher with Jason Katarina, and they are in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night.
Hey, good night, Reese. Thank you. If you're heading into Hartford right now, still some traffic out there.
Oh, right, good sir.
Yeah, we got
Brought to you
through
by
that
Columbia
one.
Implant.
Yeah.
In Manchester. Let's start off 84
All right, are they
westbound.
on again tomorrow
In East Hartford,
afternoon?
we got some slow traffic.
I don't think we have a day game tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
To 57 for the Charter Oak
That's
Bridge.
a
Still
pain in
running
the
slow.
behind.
Yeah,
No,
well,
we do.
From
No.
eight-
What's it, Thursday?
Over to the
No,
Charter
we got
Oak Bridge
7:30
in
game
Hartford.
Cleveland tomorrow.
If you're westbound,
Yeah, it's a night game tomorrow.
Yeah, they're
to
going to
56
Cleveland.
out to 40.
Yep.
All right.
84 eastbound.
Thank you, boss man.
Sluggish now
See you
for
mañana.
See you mañana.
Avenue downtown. Southland 91.
Thank you, guys. Excuse me. You guys be good. It was a good, what's that? What's Bob saying now? You really go out of your way to explain Trump's lunacy. So, okay. Can I say this before I go, Bob and Don? Let me say this before I go. I'm not intimidated. That's never been me. Like, the more you show me that you're offended, the harder I push. Like, the more you combat me, the harder I go. Put more traffic in front of me, the faster I go. I just plow right through. You see, unlike everybody else that you know, I want the opposition. I await the hate. I live for it. I breathe it. I combat it. In fact, I eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I wake up every morning expecting it. I'm not intimidated. I will never be shamed into this trying to be down with your clique, saying that I'm a Trumpite or saying that I'm against the science or I'm a homophobe. These things, these platitudes, these comments, they mean nothing to me. They mean zero to me. I should bring on my ex-wife, who used to get into these arguments with me all the time. And she would call me names and she would go, you couldn't insult Reese. Reese doesn't care. You can say anything you want about her. Reese has never flinched. I don't flinch. I don't care. What you think of me means nothing. Nothing. It's like throwing a tennis ball at a skyscraper. I don't even know you're there. You're a gnat. If you want to have a conversation with me, have a conversation. But throwing out slights and casting aspersions, you only make me go harder. You only make me puff up my chest even more. You're telling me you want me to come at you. Become an ally. It's the only choice you have. Because the other stuff doesn't work. And what do they say about insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You're never going to get a different result. Ever. Ever. And when I look into this camera, I'm looking dead in your eyes. And I hope you understand that I'm being 100% true. You're never going to beat me, no matter what you do. You are going to fail. At the end, you will be the person who will be upset, in tears, and have your feelings hurt. You can do none of that to me. I've been through it all. I came to play, and I aim to win. There is no other option. Ever. So have a good night. Try again tomorrow.